Hello, I'm Trisha Aquino, PumaPodcast, and you're listening to Teka Teka News, Balitang Thinking, Hindi Breaking. We wanted you to be the first to know that we're launching a new podcast today. It's called A State of Mind. Here, we reimagine and redefine our urban spaces, what they should feel like, what they can be, and what we can do to make them a reality. Today's episode is just a preview of what you can expect. And today, we are talking about a word that's often misunderstood: sustainability. Living sustainably doesn't mean you have to give up all modern comforts.
Siguro to simply put, sustainability is doing our best to lessen waste, energy consumption, and carbon emissions so that our future generations will also enjoy our natural resources. Sustainability is typically defined as the place where economy and social realities and environmental health integrate to create advancing, healthy, and resilient communities for today's generation and generations to come.
That's Alfie Lawrence Cura. He's a researcher at the Oscar M. Lopez Center. It's a nonprofit organization that works with policymakers and local government officials so that they can access and understand climate science and, therefore, make it work for the people.
Most of the time, sustainability is about environmental management, conservation, and restoration of our environment. As communities have always been worried about the impacts of our actions and the capacity of our environment to sustain in the long term.
Alfie's background lies in human settlements planning. That's a social science that focuses on the relationship between humans and their environment. Last year, Stanford researcher Britt Ray found that young people's climate anxiety is literally keeping them up at night. On the Smithsonian magazine, the researchers said half of them feel that humanity is doomed, and they say they won't have access to the same opportunities their parents had. Now, look around you, where you live, work, and play, your neighborhood, your city, your region. How sustainable is it? I directed this question to Ana Gonzalez as well. She's been managing the sustainability initiatives of one of the country's leading real estate developers, Ayala Land, since 2011.
What makes a city sustainable is not just the fact that you're protecting the environment. Cities are organisms where the environment, society, culture, and the economy all interact, in a dense place. If you ask me ano yung sustainable city sa Pilipinas, wala muna akong isasagot sa'yo. Kasi that is something that will be judged by history. There are examples of cities which, at a certain point may be environmentally degraded, but because of the mindset, maybe may ibang mindset yung mga stakeholders sa kanya, they can actually turn around and make that city thrive again. So for example, London, for the longest time, yung Thames River was so polluted, but they were able to bounce back. I think in the past few decades, or maybe several decades, they started a cleanup of the river, and now it's a thriving ecosystem again.
So, all is not lost. All we need is a little imagination, and we can rebuild and make our communities better.
Yung isang nakita ko is in New York City. Nearly 70% of the city's total carbon emissions come from buildings. So there's a project to retrofit buildings with green technology, which is a pioneering new solution. So developers are devising ways to retrofit them with the latest green technology. I think one of nakikita kong example dito sa Philippines nitong retrofitting is yung mga buildings sa Ayala, along Ayala, triangle na puro glass yung wall na to use yung ating natural lighting instead of using several light bulbs for the office.
Another example of a sustainability initiative is the Energy Development Corporation's BINHEAT program. EDC is OML Center's mother organization. It focuses on the identification, rescue, and propagation of just under 100 threatened native tree species. And it's helped restore more than 9,000 hectares of denuded forest in a decade. And of course, we know that trees not only absorb greenhouse gases, but rainwater too, preventing floods, soil erosion, and landslides. But you don't need to be a prominent company to make an impact, nor do you need a huge budget.
Let's take, for example, the place where we spend most of our time, the place we live. Implementing small and simple shifts in our behavior and consumptions, habits such as shifting to LED lighting as it's proven to last longer, which reduces the need to keep purchasing light bulbs, and shifting to inverter type air conditioning units, reducing our water usage, taking shorter showers, growing our own food by providing enough space in our house to grow herbs, fruits, and vegetables, and by simply unplugging our electronic devices when not in use will ripple outwards to make a bigger positive impact. At work, printing documents which have very little or no future purpose should be avoided. There are various platforms where we can easily communicate, transfer, store, and share documents, such as using emails and file hosting services. If printing cannot be avoided, using both sides of the paper is one of the best practices. Turning off all the lights, computer screens, printers, and other equipment outside of office hours or during breaks can help significantly in reducing energy usage.
We'll pause for a short break, but when we return, we'll talk about the government's role in all of this. You probably already have a reusable water bottle that keeps you from contributing to the plastic pollution problem. But of course, our government has a role to play as well.
Climate change actions should now be clear, planned, and implemented. But however, some of our country's programs and projects are more focused on beautification and aesthetics and nothing but band-aid solution or initiative. But in terms of what are we doing right, linking sustainability again to environmental management, specifically waste management, we have the Extended Producer Responsibility or the EPR bill that seeks to amend Republic Act 9003 or the Ecological Waste Management Act of 2000. So it refers to the environmental policy initiatives and practices in which companies and corporations are obliged to have the responsibility for proper and effective recovery treatment, recycling, and disposal of their products after they have been sold and used by consumers. So this is beneficial to solve the plastic waste, particularly in urban coastal areas.
Literally, what sustainability or sustain means to maintain. Di ba?
That's Art Corpus. He's an urban and regional planner. He's also a board member of Ayala Land.
You sustain things means you keep it, you maintain it. But actually, for sustainability planning, that's the opposite of what you want. You want to change the way you're doing things now so that you'll be able to maintain a certain lifestyle to the extended future. So you're really after the noun sustainability than the verb yung sustain.
Again, I'm Trisha Aquino, PumaPodcast. You're listening to Teka Teka News. This episode was written by myself. It was edited by Presh Capistrano. If you like this episode, please give our newest podcast with Ayala Land Estates a try. Just look for Estate of Mind on your favorite podcast app. Here, we imagine and redefine our urban spaces, what they should feel like, what they can be, and what we can do to make them a reality. Finally, our team at Puma Podcast would like to thank everyone who joined the Memory Project and helped keep the stories of martial law victims alive. We are overwhelmed by your response and will do the Memory Project again next year. Meanwhile, you can expect to hear the episodes you helped us create every Saturday and Sunday on Teka Teka News until the end of September. Muli, maraming salamat po.